Dorian and Leo from France, all the way via San Francisco. Welcome, and tell us a little bit about your new initiative and venture, Ardele.
Hello, thank you for receiving us. So my name is Dorian and this is Leo.
So what we do here is we launch a brand that's called Ardele, which is a clean do-it-yourself brand. So the basic idea is just that we want to bring the highest level of transparency in skincare first and in the beauty and personal care markets industry. And the highest level of transparency, you can have it through DIY because you control all the process, you see every ingredient that you put into your skincare. And so what we want to do is to bring that to market, but we also want it to be really efficient. So we want it to be personalized depending on the customer itself. So we will ask every time we sell products a set of questions so that we're sure to understand the skin characteristic of our customer, but also his lifestyle and environments so that we can provide just the right recipe and the right product that fits in all his journey.
Fantastic. So for somebody maybe who's less familiar with the skincare industry, what you guys have done is you've created a personalized skincare product and you're shipping out little kits so that people can effectively mix their own product. And the transparency you mentioned, obviously, if we can see what we're mixing together, we have a lot more confidence about what we're putting on our skin. How many people right now do you think care about what they're putting on their skin?
There is a huge trend regarding transparency in the beauty industry, especially because right now we have a few apps on your mobile that allows you to scan your products and know what's inside. And actually, people they really want to understand what they put on their skin. And I believe right now it's a majority of people are more careful about what they put on their skin. And when you take a look at some statistics, you have, for example, 42% of the Generation Z who want to buy beauty products if it uses unsafe ingredients. So there is definitely this trend of more transparency. And there is also a trend in do-it-yourself. In France, it's already huge, and here it's becoming bigger and bigger in the US. And with the COVID, people have now more time at home. So we definitely think it's a great opportunity to make its own cosmetics at home.
I can certainly say personally that I was rather horrified to discover a few years ago that a very well-known and popular brand of deodorant, or Dodo, it's possible to take off paint off a car or to remove graffiti. So when I discovered this, I stopped using this product. And I think in the context also this COVID-19 thing, I don't know if it's your experience out in Berkeley right now, but certainly here in Dublin and Ireland, the air seems an awful lot cleaner. And I think it's a great time to maybe take a little bit of a check pace and to think a little bit more about the environment and how we're looking after ourselves.
Yeah, sure. I think that there will definitely be an before and after this COVID, and a lot of people will think about other ways that to consume and to buy products. I mean, we saw this a lot with food already, with the whole shift toward more organic, more even veganism, some trend like this. And so it will probably be the same for cosmetic and the skincare industry. We're going in the same path where we want more natural products. And we're starting to realize that we don't need as much chemicals as the traditional industry has put in our products. So that should be the trend that will follow this COVID-19 situation.
And you guys are both from France?
Yes.
And you have a third person. Maybe tell us a little bit about where the idea for the name came from. And that's a nice way to introduce your colleague as well.
Yeah, so the three person who had the idea was Arnaud, Leo, and I, Dorian. So we took the two first letters of each name, and it's the full name is Ardele.
Fantastic.
And that really shows the transparency inside the brand. But Arnaud was our colleague, and he got the idea with us. He started the project with us, but he decided to go back to France with his relatives.
Okay, so just to clarify that, so right now you guys are studying in Cal in Berkeley. I guess the world changed forever in the last couple of weeks. And how did that impact this business?
We started working on it last September. So way before at the time we didn't even think something like this could ever happen one day. So we started working on this. The basic idea at the time was we don't understand the skincare ingredients. So we wanted to make a really easy and more approachable for any people. And then this situation came up. So, that was good for us because we had more time to focus on this. Obviously, being stuck at home just helped us focus on the project. So we worked a lot on this, and it helped us a lot also on the development part. But there are also some drawbacks in it because before that we were doing all kinds of workshops with people, either in Berkeley here or in the Bay Area. So we had to stop that, obviously. And this was a great way also to test our product and to have feedback on it, and also to make people come on board on our projects, because when they are actually doing the products, they realize that it is really easy and they enjoy the process. So, but we still continue to work on this, and there's other way that the digital age allow us to continue working with this. So we develop a lot on social media, on Instagram, as we will probably mention after we launch a crowdfunding campaign, so that our product can be out as soon as possible before we can even start our e-commerce website. So, we didn't thought about it at first. It has some benefits for us because we had to focus on it, and we worked a lot only full time on this project. And also we had to adapt some of our communication part, I'd say.
And Dorian, how long have you guys been in America for, and how did you guys meet each other?
Yeah, so we met each other in class. Actually, we are doing the same master degree in a business school in France called EDEC. And part of our program, we have our last year at UC Berkeley. So it's a full-time year, and we actually just finished the academic year. And we are now ready to work full-time on our project to develop Ardole.
Fantastic. And you've been involved in the startup ecosystem previously in Europe. Have you got a sense right now as to the advantages and disadvantages of Europe versus the US? It's probably a very expansive question, but maybe to give me a helicopter opinion.
So the problem is, in my view, the problem is the market size. For us, in December, we were thinking about where to launch. Are we going back to France and launch this venture in France, or do we stay here and sell our product in America? And it was quite easy to make a decision because in France it's a market with only 65 million people, while here in the US it's 350 million people. So here the market is much bigger, and you also have much more opportunity here in the Silicon Valley in terms of funding, in terms of support. So we easily made the decision to stay here.
That's very interesting. I'm sure France will be very disappointed to lose you guys, but at the same time, isn't it great that we live in a world where it's possible to do business globally? Yeah,
sure. I mean, this is an opportunity for us, and also as far as our project specifically is concerned in the in the clean beauty industry. I mean, it makes more sense here because here the cosmetic industry is not regulated, and back in France it is. So that means that there are, I would say, less crappy products in France than there are here in the US. And also the clean beauty movement is more advanced in France. We'll see a lot more brands going in that direction. So we just wanted to grab that opportunity, but also bring something that is cleaner than the existing solution here in the US, because there's this opportunity here, and that's our chance to make the industry cleaner here in the US.
And Dorian, when we spoke last week via LinkedIn, you mentioned that you guys have a crowdfunding campaign.
Yes, we just launched our crowdfunding campaign actually 7 days ago. So our objective was to reach $5,000, and we did it in 3 days. So we are very happy about that. And that's going to help us fund the first inventories and some material. So you can right now pre-order our product online on Indiegogo. We are going to open our e-commerce website to sell our product in mid of June.
And that's quite a modest amount of money. You're in a part of the world whereby it wouldn't be uncommon to ask for 5 billion. Why did you choose to go for a relatively small amount?
Yeah, so usually crowdfunding campaign, it's almost exclusively funded by your friends and your family. And here we launched our crowdfunding campaign in the US, where we have no relatives. So obviously we had to target a lower funding. And then we also come up with a completely new approach of beauty through do-it-yourself. So we just want to start kind of small and try to test the market and see if people are attracted in what we do, in our vision, and that's why we just decided to have like 5,000. It was what we needed to start the business. We got it, and now we're ready to start our e-commerce website and to grow and to scale, and later to ask maybe a few millions if we need to. But right now it's not. We just wanted to launch smoothly.
I think it's a very sustainable attitude, and it's a very good thing to hear that you guys are literally just looking for enough money to get you going to test the market. That's very admirable. I commend you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So what's next on the roadmap? What's the next biggest challenge, and perhaps what's the next biggest opportunity that you see in front of you guys right now?
So part of it, we already talked about it, but we wanted to put our product to market as soon as possible. So that's why we did a crowdfunding campaign. So we'll be able to ship the first orders in beginning of June. Then the launch of the e-commerce website, which will be also a huge step for us. After that, I mean, we'll have a lot of communication to spread awareness about the products. So that will be a huge part, and even more in the cosmetic and beauty space. We have to put our name out there. And after that, we're thinking about launching new product, but that will come at a later stage. We want to start with the first product, which is a kit to make your face moisturizer at home. And also one important step that we want to have is to improve again and again the matching algorithm that we're building to match up the ingredients with the type of skin and the skin characteristic of that person. And we will be able to improve that algorithm through a lot of customer testing. So that's also part of the process, and a big step for us is to put that product to market, test it out with customer, gain feedback so that we can improve and get a better and better product.
That's very interesting that you mentioned an algorithm. Maybe just to clarify as well, what are the three of you guys studying, and have you got some mathematical experience, or how are you working on that algorithm?
Yeah, so for now, we just developed a basic model which allows us to have more than 1,000 recipes, which is basically a decision tree, so that not that hard to create. But
just to clarify that, are you developing that yourselves within your team of 3, or have you had to outsource that technology building?
So for now, we're doing it ourselves, but we worked also with computer science students that was from Singapore and had to go back due to the COVID-19. So we'll be definitely looking for.
And is that your third colleague right now?
No, we worked with all the people here in the Bay.
Okay, wow, okay.
But they had to go back, so they're not working on the product anymore. But we used to work with them, so we'll probably have to hire somebody to handle that algorithm part to make it better. But for now, it's just we're looking to develop the right decision tree so that we don't get it wrong, and just to provide the right recipe to people.
That's fantastic. So there's a lot of work done already, and then in the future you might have to look at expanding your numbers. Well, that's perfectly normal, especially in building a startup. And then from the point of view of the university, that the thing I love about Berkeley personally is that it's so small and accessible, and that the staff are incredibly open and helpful. Has that been very useful for you guys also in generating teams and getting feedbacks and opening doors?
Yes, definitely. We got so we took an entrepreneurship class with Mark Coppersmith and Whitney Hischer. So they helped us a lot develop our startup the right way, and they, for example, they pushed us to conduct more than 100 interviews, so that we really understand the pain point of consumers and can build the product with them and adapt exactly to what they want. So yeah, they help us a lot. And then we also took part in STEP, which is a pre-accelerator program at UC Berkeley, who helped us also developing our startup, but they also put us in contact with some students who wanted to help startups. So that's what Leo talked about earlier.
Fantastic.
A few engineering students from Singapore wanted to help us to build this algorithm, and they stayed with us for a few months to work on that part of the project.
That's really awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for your time, and the very best of luck with the project. So just before we sign off, remind us of your calls to action. Where should we follow you guys, and how can we get involved in the campaign?
Sure. So you can follow us. Our main channel of communication is Instagram. So you can follow us on Instagram at adole.diy. And also we still have a crowdfunding campaign running on Indiegogo. So same there in the health and in the health section, Adole, and you can support us and be the first to experience the highest level of transparency.
Fantastic. That's really awesome, guys. So Dorian and Leo, thank you so much, and the very best of luck with the project.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Bye-bye.